All right, where are we? There we are. YouTube, hello. How's it going, YouTube? All righty. Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Smudcast number 203. Positive representation. How to make a difference. I didn't know there was, how to make a difference through representation was a thing. That you had to use it through comics or animation or whatever. Usually you just make art and let the art speak for itself. And you don't try to change people's minds. You just have a entertaining, interesting, creative, fun expression. And that's that. It could be science fiction. It could be contemporary. It could be slice of life, whatever your genre. But here we have someone from YouTube to tell us that there is a right way to do representation, which will actually make a difference. What that difference is, I don't know, aside from I hate you, you're annoying, you're not very entertaining, I don't know. But usually when you inject stuff into a piece of media, that tends to be the case. So let's go over the facts here. This is Drawpinion Dump. That's the name of the YouTuber. She's got 36,000 subs. This was made in August last year. And it has 523,000 views.
Oh, God. Wow.
And if you read the description of the video, don't you love it when cartoons are gay?
No.
No. Oh, that wasn't a question. I was just reading the description, but thank you for answering.
Well, from this person's point of view, it's a rhetorical question that always needs to be answered with yes. But by the way, I seem to have internet issues. So if I suddenly disappear, that's because of that.
Oh, don't worry. It happens to Hawk every 2 minutes. It's okay. So
cool.
Yes.
And radio.
And literature. Many others, yes. Okay, so this is a 21-minute video. We're not going to get through it. There's just no way. This is going to, unless we just don't pause it for 10 minutes and then talk. Depending
is
how
that
vapid
like a
it is.
personal attack or something?
No, I'm just saying, in general.
If we just let it run, for 21 minutes and say, well, that was rubbish, moving quickly on.
No, I don't think I can do
I'll mix myself the longest cocktail I can think of and just keep mixing.
I mean, your intro talk is already that's what they do all the time. They insert everything into everything. I've seen there was when I got into this, because my hometown didn't have Antifa crap. When I got into where I'm living right now, there was about 15 years ago. It was the first time I came into contact with the stickers Antifa puts everywhere, and it is usually, and I am completely aware of the language I'm using now, appropriated comic and video game characters that have all these communist slogans on them. Like you have Mario from Mario 64, and there's some
Mario is communist.
Mario against fascism, Mario against Nazis, and things like that. We have that with Sonic and every other thing. It's basically what cults do in general. They try to woo you in with something you know, something you like as a kid. It's essentially the guy who tries to lure kids into his car with candy.
It's the child catcher from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Really?
Barley and ice cream. Yeah, it's to draw them out.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what that's.
Yeah. So yeah, that's still it's more or less passive thing, but they're already actively appropriating using the intellectual property, if you will, of companies that are of established franchises to put messages into the kids. Like this character you like says this thing that I use as a sock puppet. And now they're 15 years later. They're in all of these media industries, and so sometimes they try to make original stuff that is absolute crap, that has all these messages in it, or they make all these remakes of stuff that abandons the core of what the thing is, very, very often. And instead replaces it all with their messaging, with all these messages. It's the same thing as these Antifa stickers, just that it's now on TV and everywhere. And your Star Trek is now this, your Star Wars is now this, your comic books are now this, your cartoons are now this, and they want to do the same with anime. Your video games are now this. They're all Antifa stickers with Super Mario saying fascism is bad, Sonic for feminism, you come up with it. All these when you see all this nonsense of this character says trans rights, that's that. Now we have it all over the internet. That's just this bullshit. And this is what will be in this video. I haven't seen it before, but this is my guess, that this video is going to tell us that this is an amazing thing. Putting messages into things and putting tokens everywhere. When tokenism once was bad, and now it's good when we do it, because we do it for you. Just please don't have an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's get going then. Jake the Surgeon, thank you. Where is my flat foot representation? I don't know if that's a fetish or if that's an actual feature of, people with high and low arches in their foot. I couldn't tell.
There are therapeutic exercises with which you can remedy a flat foot. Please look into it.
Yeah, but Jake wants more flat-footedness.
I don't know.
Can't help you there, Jake.
It's fetishizing. It's fetishizing.
Honestly, let's just put it this way: that is the most sanest super chat I've heard Jake say in a very, very long time.
Yeah, the past few days, it's like, thank you, Jake. That is, you're in the ballpark. Okay. All right, let's go.
Don't you love it when cartoons are gay?
Why is the
No.
video not running for me?
Yeah, okay, fine.
We went over
Let
that.
me express myself in a more
fine.
eloquent manner. In 1999, a new cartoon show premiered on Nickelodeon.
Is this how she normally sounds?
Yeah.
Holy.
She sounds like she's condescending and on some happy drugs.
Message coming in.
Something is wrong.
Patching it through.
It's so. What's the other word I'm looking for?
Talking down to people?
boring.
Yeah.
Message coming in.
Yeah.
Patching it through.
She's talking down in this. This is this sing-song voice that really horrible kindergarten nurses have. Oh, didn't you make a nice little colored picture of flowers and cakes and oh, did you draw a transgender hedgehog? That's so wonderful.
Yeah, it's like she's talking to a little 4-year-old or something. It's like, what is wrong with you?
Well, mentally, it fits the demographic.
Oh, that's not good. Oh, that doesn't sound right.
Well, you do get to see what her audience demographic is, and Whisper's not that far wrong with.
I'm talking about emotional maturity, and that fits.
Yes, yeah, and
Because
no,
these people
you're
are
100% you're 100% correct. I don't know if it's come up yet, but yeah, what her audience looks like.
All right, let's go. Joe Crazy, Kami Sonic. I'll show you how the workers are being exploited. Okay, I mean, thanks for that sticker there, Joe.
Message coming in.
And look, Sonic is
go
fighting
fast.
against the hyper-industrialization of the free planet.
Oh yes,
Be like
He's fighting against.
run into the gulags.
yeah, the superstructure of communism, or no, sorry, capitalism.
Yeah, you can also put it the other way, because Robotnik is based on his original name sounds Russian, and before he turned into Robotnik, and he's trying to turn everyone into robots to work for him, which is a worker's paradise.
Oh,
You can put this anywhere you want.
thanks, Sega.
Yeah, that's the thing with insanity. You can say anything with it.
Yeah.
Jake the Surgeon, thanks again. I have literal flat feet and epilepsy, Where is my representation? Oh, jeez.
I can not fully, but somewhat represent you. Ask your physiotherapist. There are exercises to help you with your flat foot, to strengthen the ligaments. Takes a few months, but if you dedicate yourself to it, you can somewhat get rid of that. And I am photosensitive. I am not epileptic, but I quickly get migraines when people put strobe light effects in their fucking science fiction. I hate you, The Expanse. I hate you.
I like to sit in darkness all day, just as dark as possible. Like a vampire.
For the representation of flat feet and epilepsy, just watch Happy Feet constantly for the rest of your life. Plenty of representation there.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. Thank you, Doc.
I will do so.
Oh, penguins have flat feet, don't they? So.
Look, we have Undoomed in the chat. Hello.
Hello, Undoomed.
Hey, Undoomed. Hussars Ve. Lesbian Klansman when? Well, you see, with those two terms, you have lesbian and Klansmen. So it's not, they're no longer lesbians. They're just one of them does not fit. So Klans women, that will work.
Klansperson.
Oh no, that's too.
Klans humans.
That's too inclusive. I don't think you want to do that with the Klan. I think the Klan.
I mean, that is still species.
The Klan is too inclusive. We're talking about having lesbians in there as well.
I mean, I'm really surprised that I've heard when this is some time ago, and they're really so obsessed with this that even when they are talking about the super far extreme alt-right hyper Nazis, they want you to talk inclusive about them because there could be a trans person there.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the black transgender lesbian Klans person.
I think
Dave
joke is
Chappelle started on that, but I don't think even he could see that far.
Yeah, that joke is just, I'm done. I can't go further. I'm sorry. I think Klanswoman, Klansman was as far as my brain went. Oh, let's just try to get through the first minute and see how we do.
I mean,
all right.
Can try.
Wait, I have one more thing to add.
Oh God!
Can you please tell me what that expression on her cartoon avatar is?
Oh,
is that sane?
You're watching the video? Oh my God! Why? Look at this. Okay, her art. I don't know what style that is.
I am in the watch together with you.
Yeah, but this means you have to literally watch it. You just listen and try to make sense of this crap.
Listen, and do other things like I'm doing.
Avatar. Does that look like a sane human for you?
You know, if I were to teach this child to draw a smile, like a happy face, it would not look like whatever that is, like a broken paperclip.
This looks like
broken.
I mean, the head is turned, but it still looks like an asymmetrical, smug, malicious grin, and not like a smile.
Someone is going fishing and they're reeling in something, and there's no fish.
I just think she just ran out of black ink.
I don't know.
That's it.
Did she purposely suck at art? I'm going to draw the dumbest looking face I could think, and then I'm going to base my entire channel art on.
I think this is inspired by the style from, or stolen by the style from what are they called?
Bad artists.
Blue and Red, the history and the mythology channel.
Really?
The characters look like this style.
Oh my God, this is
just better.
Just go to Fiverr, say, can you draw a female for me in a cartoony way? I'll give you $10. Thank you.
Are you sure this is a female?
No.
I see zero curves
No, I
on
don't
this
know. Come on, I can't figure. She has nothing on her about page. It's blank.
We are.
She has a Twitter and a Patreon on her about page. That's it. It's blank.
To be honest with you, everything about this is pretty boring. This entire channel is pretty boring. Her voice is really boring. It's just a really boring thing.
Anyway,
it's so bland.
Let's find
would
out
the
how.
assumption be that this just has so many views because it's pushed by the algorithm?
Yes.
I don't think the algorithm.
Yes.
The algorithm can only go so far. This is people boosting it from like last year and whatever. I can't see too many people upvoting this. I mean, 37,000 upvotes compared to 760 downvotes, roughly. How?
But people.
That's a normal ratio.
People don't downvote that much unless there's a they really want to. Most people just stop watching.
Yeah, and that's a filter bubble thing as well. If you are in your filter bubble, you can look in to these super left-wing channels that talk absolute nonsense, and their own audience, of course, upvotes everything. And whoever doesn't like this crap will not watch more of it, and so that don't get many downvotes unless the thing goes viral.
At which point we get loads down. Yeah.
Yeah. So the ratio is rarely an indicator, really, unless there are really weird things going on.
What I don't know how this collection of golden mountains entered your brain, but live action Pocahontas played by Tucker Carlson. I don't even. Are you just combining
ideas?
Implying
Tucker Carlson plays Pocahontas?
Just like Disney plus Fox News, like slam it together. There you go.
And there would be some more diversity in other races and sexes playing the traditional characters. Why does Pocahontas need to be a woman?
Oh.
Yeah. Why can't a straight white man play Pocahontas? just saying.
We just need to find a Slav because Slavs are black now, so that would be okay.
Yeah, I gotta say hello to my Italian black men. They're out there. I know they are.
I'm waiting for Ryan Reynolds as Shaka Zulu. That's what I'm waiting for.
Oh yeah, yes, please.
I thought he was going to star as was it Tom Hanks? I can't remember what the hell
Why not Steven Seagal?
Steven Seagal as Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther. No, don't say that. That's wrong. That's just wrong. I can't even make fun of that. That's wrong.
No, Shaka Zulu sounds fun with Steven Seagal.
Yeah.
Or the other way around.
I just think, it's great.
Because it's a warrior. He fights, and Steven Seagal fights.
Here's Kyle Rocket with the sensible male approach to things.
People knock themselves out.
Mariah Mills as Pocahontas. Thank you. That'll attract many people who like her music. She's a musician, right? I have no idea. I think so.
Over my head.
Well, Native Americans are closer related to Asians, so maybe a Chinese could play her.
Hey, now you're thinking.
A Han Chinese man plays Pocahontas. That's it.
President Z as Pocahontas.
Anyway, let's get through the first minute just to see what what wonderful insight she's got for us.
We need to build up some moral boosting here before we get into this. So
yeah. We're happy now.
Known as SpongeBob SquarePants. It revolved around the life of a sponge who lived in a pineapple under the sea, getting into hijinks with his underwater pals, flipping burgers, and hunting jellyfish. To say this show took the world by storm would be an understatement. It became an intrinsic part of the channel's brand, running for over 250 episodes and making a ton of money in the process. It didn't come without its share of criticism, though, as adults were concerned that the show was making their children dumber, or gay. Now, it kind of goes without saying.
Okay.
First off, the dumber part is definitely wrong, because SpongeBob is a surprisingly intelligent show that pulled off something that many other cartoons didn't. Some manage it, but SpongeBob is probably the epitome of that, because you have 2 layers of comedy in this thing. One is just the dumb cartoonish shit for the kid, and the other is a rather intelligent, sometimes philosophical, sometimes moral thing for the parent that has to watch cartoons with the kid now to think about and to notice. And as children grow older and still watch SpongeBob, they start noticing these more mature second levels of jokes and storylines in the show.
Right.
And that's a great thing.
And
this is mainly made so that parents can stand watching cartoons with their kids.
Right. So the idea that you think characters in a children's show, which is primarily for I don't even think there's any jokes about relationships. Like there's some SpongeBob character who's like interested in some other character, and how do I ask them out? And they ask SpongeBob for help. Like there's no plots like that. It's just a bunch of weird parents going, "Oh, geez, is this guy gay? Like, because he hangs out with all these other guys." It's like, what do you like? That's a stupid argument.
There was one episode where Mr. Krabs tried to date Mrs. Puff, but that's about as far as it really went.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. So that's as broad of the relationship spectrum it goes to understanding the community of SpongeBob SquarePants, or at least wherever he lives.
Yeah. Because SpongeBob is for 6-year-olds and some, a little younger too, and relationships aren't important storylines at that age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's boring. That bores kids to hell.
Yeah. Here's Jake the Surgeon. Moral outrage about gays in the late 90s, early 2000s. Someone put that in a memo titled "Your Slagging Point." Huh. I'm trying to remember.
Message coming in the
90s.
Patching it through.
And even the 2000s, 90s specifically, were there any shows that were specifically about homosexuality?
Message coming in.
Like, I'm sure some sitcoms might have touched upon it.
Sitcoms usually had one episode where it was somewhat of a topic, and the conclusion usually was that, okay, this is a normal thing, it doesn't affect any of us.
Yeah.
Other people, and you are a normal person. And this is what the 90s and early 2000s mainly did. So this was the good way of normalizing homosexuality.
I do remember.
I think there was one on the British show was there was one about gay blokes in Manchester, but I can't remember if that was mid 2000s or if it was early 2000s, late 90s. I can't remember. I never watched it. I just heard about it.
I do
That's
remember
something that runs after 10 p.m.
Really? Well, I remember a show called late 90s, early 2000s called Becker. And the reason why I remember that show, it was Ted Danson and it was Terry Farrell, because she left DS9 to star in the show, or not star, but co-star with Ted Danson. And in one of the episodes, a friend from Ted Danson, he was played as a doctor, a friend he knew from medical school or whatever came to meet him, but it was like that she represented herself as this person's other buddy or roommate or whatever, but it was a man or a woman who was once a man.
Patching it through.
And you could tell, her hands were a bit bigger, her brow was a bit wider, and Becker never figured it out until right at the end. And no one told him. So, and he was trying to go, because he was attracted to this woman, and he's trying to get to know her better, because they're really, obviously they were best friends back in the day, so they were really friendly with each other. But that was the only other time I can think of when homosexuality or representation or whatever was done, but was mainly done because it was a Becker episode. And if you don't know the show Becker, he's the most cantankerous doctor, and he hates everyone, even though he likes everyone at the bottom of his heart. But it's just that sort of thing. What will life throw him next? That's the sort of idea. Yeah. So that's all I can think of. I'm sure there's others like DS9. There's all kinds of homosexual or unique sci-fi stories of characters doing that. The first lesbian kiss that we have. So this is not anything special. It's not a big deal. It's just a small element of the story.
I remember in the 90s or 2000s, the British L Word, because I know they sort of like remade it and kept it going. But in the earliest, I remember that one, because it only ran for like 2 seasons or something in the late 90s, early 2000s, called The L Word. So I know there was that one, but I don't really. We didn't really look for this sort of stuff. Things just happened in the program,
but
just
certainly
carried on watching them.
Certainly not in cartoons. Like certainly not in children's cartoons or Saturday morning cartoons. This was all prime time, past 8 o'clock stuff for adults, that sort of stuff. So,
the Watershed, over in the UK, 9 p.m. Watershed. That's when you started getting your better program with actual relationships and sexual stuff. And
the only stuff where that came in was something like South Park, but that was a different kind of thing. It's not a little children's cartoon.
Yeah.
Right. Joe Crazy, what about Neil Breen as Malcolm X? Oh.
Yes.
I don't...
Please.
You already think that's not happened. I think it probably has already happened.
I don't give Neil Breen... Do not give Neil Breen ideas. He has more than enough ideas. The problem is not the number.
Yeah, but Smud, he's the best. He is the best, greatest scientist, mathematician, engineer in the whole world.
Neil Breen will, with science and hacking, remove racism from humanity, and then give a speech in TV about it.
Yeah.
How he's angry and will now self-destruct.
God,
I
can't believe he committed suicide. How can you commit suicide?
I'm going to hack the Pentagon with a wrench. I was like, okay.
Oh, God, yeah. Jesus fucking Christ.
Jake the Surgeon. Will and Grace focused on Will's gay relationships. It was a massive hit. Yeah, there you go. There's a specific show just about
Will and Grace,
homosexuals and the person who also loves that person, and they're not sexually attracted to each other, but they're best friends. That's a nice story. There you go. It's a good, very famous comedy. You're right.
Yeah, that was early 2000s, I think.
Yeah, it must have been. Yeah.
I didn't watch much
90s,
of it.
Early 2000s, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't really stick with me or ran at the wrong time. I don't know. But it seemed endearing, kind of, but I didn't figure out what actually was going on. And I think that's a good thing with their sexuality. I didn't know that was the thing that was going on. I'm mixing this up with Dharma and Greg.
Oh,
no, here's the thing, though.
That was a weird one.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. These characters that were mentioned had other things apart from their sexuality.
Yes.
So we never noticed it. Nowadays, their sexuality is everything.
Yes, it's all about that. It's all about...
It's like, I'm gay, okay? And what else? Oh, nothing else. I'm just gay. Aren't I amazing?
That's my character.
We need a bit more. Just a little bit more than that. What do you enjoy doing at the weekend? Being gay. Okay, cool. Okay.
Yeah, this is the thing I said
Check,
this
please.
before we were live. This is the part where Freud was right in a way. So Freud thought that way too many things are about sexuality than they are. A lot of them are, if you analyze it further and properly. He was a pioneer. He had a lot of dumb ideas. Some of them stuck. That's it. Today we figured out a lot more what is the wheat, what is the chaff, and my guess is that maybe Freud had a lot of patients who were just completely obsessed with sexuality, just like these types, the social justice types that you see, that you see in this activism group, the people that completely took over, if not infiltrated from the start, this LGBT thing, and because they are solely about sexuality. They haven't matured out of this phase in their life, in their maturation process, and that's all they have. They have no developed personality. That's also why they all seem to act and think and say the same things, which is where the NPC meme comes from. They have no personality, Therefore, they're all the same. They're still the basic program of a human being. So they're not humans. They're just the basic form that hasn't developed yet.
Yeah. No, I agree.
All right, we're at 1 minute. Let's keep on going.
All right.
That there's inherently gay about SpongeBob. The character's creator stated that he has always thought of him as somewhat asexual, which technically means he is still part of the LGBTQ crowd.
No, he's not.
He
Stop.
That is dumb.
I need to find my mouse.
That is a... Okay. Because the creator says something doesn't mean it's true. It is a children's show.
In this case, it's more likely. In this case, it's more likely the creator meant with that this character does not care about sex because that's not important.
Yeah, this is
not important to this character. It's not important to the show.
This is the equivalent of him trying to explain how SpongeBob breathes or can emote noise underwater.
Also, he's a sponge.
Yeah,
sponges do not procreate in the same way as higher organisms do. Sponges split. They make more of them by splitting. There was if you have watched the Orville, there's a slime character. I forgot his name. He does the same thing. He does this species procreates by mitosis. He just splits off another part of him, and that eventually becomes another individual.
Yeah.
And this is what SpongeBob if we take SpongeBob too seriously, this is what SpongeBob would eventually do. There is somewhere a bigger SpongeBob that SpongeBob divided off of, which should scare you.
They have campfires just to remind people underwater in this show.
Yeah.
Don't
a squirrel
take this
with a
spacesuit on.
Yes, it's awesome.
They also have a beach. They have a beach and a sea underneath the sea.
You'd be surprised. That actually works.
Yeah, I know. But when you actually
message coming in,
it's like SpongeBob. Don't take these things really seriously. Don't take everything as gospel. It's a cartoon show for children.
Yeah, but if you are interested in physics and the wonders of the world that you've never heard about and makes the planet that you think is so boring look absolutely magical, there are lakes under the sea, which is water with a higher level of significantly higher level of salt in them and some other stuff. And it's like you have oil and water, you have a phase between them, and so it looks like you have lakes underwater. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely amazing. And since you can have at some parts, if you have cliffs underwater, and there's some normal water, let's say, stuck in these pockets, it looks like there's pockets of water above you. It looks absolutely magical. Oh yeah, magical stuff.
All right, here's Kyle Rocket. Didn't he get married to Sandy? I believe you're talking about SpongeBob SquarePants in that regard. Sandy?
Sandy Cheeks a squirrel.
Oh, really?
Yeah. God, today I did not think my SpongeBob knowledge would be brought up. Possibly. I mean, him and Patrick do raise a clam together, which actually gets brought up in this video. But SpongeBob's a very strange show.
Yeah, but come on,
very strange show.
Isn't that like bringing up a pet together or something?
No,
caring for an orphan.
But they treat it like a man and a woman. Like a marriage.
They're playing house. This is something that children do. Children play house. Mm-hmm. One plays the dad, one plays the mommy, and then they play house. And usually this is with the standard sexes, like the boy plays the father, the girl plays the mother. And I remember this from my time in kindergarten, because my memory is fucked up. The boys didn't always want to play that, so the girls played house by themselves. So the girls had this one plays the mother, one plays the father thing. They still played the general concepts that they had of that. The girls kept playing that regardless of whether boys were there, because boys were more interested in other games.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, kids play house. So SpongeBob playing house with Patrick and the clam.
Message coming in.
Yeah, fits, but that doesn't say anything about real relationships. That's just kids playing kids' games.
Here is Jake the Surgeon. Asexuality is nonsense, as even asexual organisms breed. Well, there's various types of asexual organisms and how they breed. A desire to not have relations could be a number of things. Oh, you're talking about people in that regard. Okay. Yeah.
And I've talked about this before. Asexuality has nothing to do with the LGBT. It shouldn't. Asexuality is usually, if you look deeper into that, you will almost always, like 95 to 99% of cases, you will find that something is physiologically wrong with that person. Like some hormone issue, some gland is balked, some other health issue, and the funniest in a way, because people don't. This is hilarious. And the last time I saw this referenced was in Deborah So's last book, The End of Gender, where she talked about this as well, in a staggeringly high number of cases where people report asexuality, which is just low libido. You just have a low sex drive. And that is caused by some physiological issue, because it is not normal to have that. And it's not something like being homosexual. There's a physiological cause behind this that you can solve, like most flat feet. And in a staggeringly high number of cases, asexuality is caused by a benign brain tumor that takes a very, very long time to be dangerous, but it presses on a part in your brain, and that leads to, through a cascade effect, to a low libido, because certain things aren't produced anymore.
Yeah.
Hooray!
Yeah, it's
if you have a low libido, go see a doctor.
Yeah,
you can have a normal life.
This is very similar to other conditions. It's on a scale. It's not just one. You're asexual. You're not. There's all sorts of factors involved. So
there is a degree to it, and of course, asexuality can be caused by depression, by trauma, because you're in constant hypervigilance. For example, when you have severe PTSD, you don't have the time to have a sex drive, because you have this feeling to be constantly under threat.
Yeah.
And there's one more thing about this, because this asexuality thing is a great example for a take I just heard the other day, that I bring something on point that I wasn't able to put like that. They, meaning the SJWs, the LGBT and everything, they are unionizing, like putting everything into things like workers' unions, race, sex, medical issues, like and sexualities. They are unionizing these things in order to then speak for them and exploit them, like corrupt unions do.
This sounds very strangely like Atheism Plus.
Yeah, well, it turned into that. And if you are not on board with the union opinion that speaks for you now, then you are a traitor to the union and must, of course, be dealt with, regardless of whether you actually have the condition that they claim to represent, be that a race thing, be that a culture thing, be that a sexuality thing. So when they unionize asexuality, first they lie about the medical reality of it, and secondly, they exploit yet another group of people. Mm-hmm. By lying about the I think the most criminal thing about this is that by lying about the medical reality of it, they keep people in an unhealthy state to exploit them. which is similar to what they do with the whole trans thing. Just in the case of trans, they push it actively onto people. Asexuality isn't actively pushed onto people.
All right, here's Joe Crazy. Stefan Hillenberg was into marine biology back in the day. The guy was just referencing the fact he was a sea sponge. So Stefan Hillenberg is the creator, I believe, of SpongeBob?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense.
God rest his soul.
Yeah,
he's dead now. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's why SpongeBob took a big change.
Oh.
That's usually how that happens.
Yeah.
I've heard of other shows where that happened, and they shouldn't have gone on after the sad demise of the creator. And I think, so I haven't looked too deep into this, I just have vague memories of the SpongeBob Hillenberg thing. I think he wanted to end the show earlier on anyway.
He wanted to end it with the movie.
Oh.
The first SpongeBob movie, yeah. But Nickelodeon and everything pretty much
keep it going.
Kicked him to the side.
But we need to print money!
And he said no. He said, I'm leaving. So they carried on making it, and then it went like the ratings went down. So they dragged him back. Then he died when they carried on. And it was just a bit like, kind of. It was kind of disgusting how they treated them, to be honest with you. But
all right, well,
yeah,
let's see
you
what
are disgusting.
Let's see what this lady has to
carry on with this
say
brain
about.
tumor.
Yeah.
Just last thing for Hawk. If you are disgusted by that, do not look into the case of Monty Ohm and Ruby.
I know about that already.
Steroids.
I already know about that one. Yeah. I used to be a fan of Rooster Teeth, and then they turned shit, and I just jumped out of there because it was just toxic all over the place.
Okay.
So yeah, I know about that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to be a gay character. The idea of SpongeBob being gay comes more from outdated stereotypes of what characterizes homosexual men as opposed to straight men. Things like being interested in cooking or acting in a cheerful, almost flamboyant
that is
Smud's gay.
Okay, stop. Those are not outdated stereotypes. Gay people are like that. There are the nice gays, and there are the flamboyant gays that are often psychopathic.
There is no correlation between this and this is a silly thing for her to mention. Let's just keep going. It's going to get worse. So we're gonna.
I'm
just pissed when I always say outdated stereotypes. No, they are not.
People
these things are there for a reason.
People save money. People learn to cook. That's that simple. Okay, that's it.
And that's enough. That's another thing where they say that if you cook, you are gay. If you are a man who cooks, you are gay, or you are a woman.
Some of the best chefs in the world are men. This is silly.
Oh, also tailors.
Yeah. Gordon Ramsay is so gay. Yeah, say back to his face.
The more I try to explain, the sillier it becomes. He was labeled as gay simply because he wasn't hypermasculine.
He's
a sponge.
His masculinity in a way that was considered unusual. And the reason why this is relevant is because, for the longest time, that's as far as we got when it came to LGBTQ representation in cartoons.
What?
We were left with characters that were labeled as odd.
Oh no. Don't make fun of him. Him is an amazing character.
Yeah.
No matter how flamboyant and obnoxious he is, him is one of the best devil characters I've ever seen.
Patching it through.
And the naming choice alone is amazing. They never say his name is him.
Here is Roan Hirushin. Ruby, you had potential. Now you are a mediocre mess consumed by shippers. I think we can pretty much say goodbye to Rooster Teeth at this point. So
yeah.
Thank
God.
Toast.
I used to like not hero worship, but really respect Jeff. Yeah, I used to really like him. And then he came out with all his stuff. I'm like, wow, man, you've just like completely lost your spine. You are just, I don't know who you are. I just can't listen to you anymore.
It's strange to go from professionalism to just a wreck. So I don't know how. I don't know the history. I listened to Shiny's interview of the two people that had the insider knowledge, and that was enough. That was like 3 hours worth of conversation. I was like, oh, that's crazy. So enough for me.
Yeah, but I was watching it and saw it all go down, and I was like, Jesus Christ, these people have like completely changed, as in like, well, either changed or it's just like they couldn't keep wearing the fake masks anymore, and just it was a shit show.
Anyway, other topic. Let's keep going. Come on, Hawk. Rooster Teeth works really hard, forcing their employees to work unpaid overtime. Yeah.
Message coming in.
One of many problems.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's the other stuff, but
yeah. Don't worry. It's a whole other topic. We're not going to jump into that. That's
we're not. No,
that's too big.
No.
Yeah, that's.
If you want to know, watch Shiny's interview.
Yeah.
That he does. It pretty much tells you everything you need to know.
There's two insiders from Rooster Teeth. Yeah. Exactly.
Crunch for nothing, but the chips for free.
Mm-hmm. Kyle Rocket, is him $2. Even human? I don't think so.
He's a devil.
Yeah.
He's the devil.
Yeah.
The devil's not human.
To be honest with you, this all comes down to the progressives' narcissistic tendencies that they need to see themselves in everything. If it's not about them, they're not interested.
Yeah.
And that's what it always comes down to. They need representation because they need to see themselves, because they are so utterly uninterested in anything else apart from themselves.
Also one of the major components of writing a Mary Sue. You have to focus completely on your own ego and your own power trip and whatever fantasy you're trying to impart to your character. And it's like, that's me doing that. That's what I want. And you just keep going with that idea. And you make a plot line out of that. It's like, oh my God, what did you do? Ugh.
Her avatar has a really effeminate stance. That's very stereotypical. If you dislike stereotypes so much, why do you draw yourself like an absolute stereotype? With no tits.
Oh.
Well, I came back. All I came back to was no tits. Okay, cool, excellent.
I just wanted to get attention back to the thing we do.
You jinx me as well. You jinx me as well, Biff, because you said, "Oh, my internet might cut out and everything." And then it's me who gets cut out first.
Yeah. Well, Hawk, it happens every time. Don't worry about it. It's nothing special. You're fine.
Yeah, I don't worry about it.
Okay.
I just opened another beer while I was waiting to come back on.
Here's Kyle Rocket again. Thank you. Rooster Teeth went downhill after Monty died. Oh, let's not go into that. Come on, let's go back to
that's a
topic.
That's a rabbit hole of its own.
Yeah. Other stories to talk, but let's just keep going.
Come on, let's just talk about the gays. Come on.
There you go.
Let's just go down one rabbit hole of gays and lesbians, not Rooster Teeth.
Way or another, like a boy that acts in a way that is deemed too sweet. Or a man who shows no interest in women.
No.
At most, we would get an off-screen comment on part of the creator saying that this character was, in fact, not straight. But it never came into
20
play.
years later, when you kept harassing them to get answers.
Yeah, and look, you just talked about asexuality, and now you lump it into the same vein of homosexuality. Because it's implied, because you don't see this. It's people like you that have that characters get this unnecessary girlfriend in an action movie or something where it's the girlfriend doesn't add anything to the plot. It's just there to show that the super bros who go through hell together are actually not gay because one of them has a girlfriend. That girl character only exists for people like you who see sexuality everywhere, and for the authoritarian hyper fundamentalist whatever Christians who fear seeing homosexuality everywhere. They also need these indicators because they fear that people like you are pushing homosexuality everywhere. And now every time people like you are not seeing a female-male relationship, you assume that when there are two really good friends, that they must be in a sexual relationship, that they must be sexually attracted to one another. You people are, and I'm saying I'm autistic, I hope I'm allowed to say this, I hope I have an R-word pass. People like you are retarded.
Mm-hmm. The people like this don't actually understand sexuality at all. These are the same people who said Ray and Kylo love each other because they slightly touch fingers. It's like, this shows how out of touch you are with actual human beings if you think slightly touching fingers once is a romantic gesture. These people just have no idea how humans work. They are just
they haven't matured past their early teenage years, past their early stage of puberty mentally.
Yeah,
because that's it. Like you get overwhelmed by all this. Yeah, you get.
Oh, we're holding hands. That means, we're in a sexual relationship. Does it? Okay, cool.
Oh, I probably get pregnant. We hold hands.
And
yeah, and it's
nerds.
There's no understanding of. There is no empathy with these people. These people have no empathy.
No.
Which is the defining.
They care about themselves.
Yeah, which is the defining trait of a narcissistic personality disorder, which is an inhibition of emotional maturity.
Yeah,
and I keep coming back to this because this is the
sexuality stuff.
Because this is the core of
are just so utterly likable. They have to say that they're gay, or they're too gendered, or whatever. I don't give two flying fucks really, whatever gender they say. Because they've never really met anyone who's loved them, and they have no idea because they're so utterly unlikable and boring. And that's the problem.
You can make everyone else understand
utterly unlikable and boring.
It is possible that you can understand real love without anyone ever having loved you.
I'm not talking about love though. That's what I'm not talking about. I'm talking about with sexuality and all this sort of stuff. They seem to think
of course.
It's all about because they've never dealt with it before.
Yeah, the important thing is there are different types of love, and the English language and the German language don't reflect that.
Message coming in.
Well, we did win 2 wars to make that happen.
I think Spanish still makes some differentiations there. And sexual love is the only type of love that these people understand.
Lust.
It's lust. Yes, lust.
Mm-hmm.
And the other types of love, which is friendship, which is unconditional love that religious people have for their God, for example, or that children have for their parents. So parents are essentially gods to children. And
yes, that is true.
And this love that parents have for their children, those are based on empathy. Lust in itself is not based on empathy. That's just sexual drive. And if you can't conceive of these other types of love outside of sexual love, all you are able to comprehend in others is sexual love. So if two people are really close, fight through hell, then they can only be doing this because they want to stick their dicks into each other.
Yeah.
That is the logical consequence of their limitation. They only have this limited set of tools to understand reality with, to map reality with, to make sense. And with their limited tools, that is a logical conclusion. But it's the wrong conclusion because they lack all these other tools.
Here is Ron Harushin. It feels like they take something as so simple as reproduction and add extra unnecessary steps.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true for a lot of their takes on anything. Now we mentioned these people building governments.
It's just the concept of diversity. They just want to have, this person's different, therefore we should represent them and put them into the media because they're a minority. And you're like, yeah, so is that part of some plot line? Is that part of some character arc? Is that part of some conflict? Like, what is the story about? Do we need to have this in there?
Message coming in.
So we haven't gotten past SpongeBob yet, but I'm sure we're going to finally get to some story where that's relevant, which I'm assuming...
We're at Hey Arnold for some reason.
I don't know. We'll find out. All this talk about it is kind of pointless at this point because why should cartoons have this in the first place? That should be the first question. Jake the Surgeon. Oh, sorry. I just skipped Mark in 2D because he had a donation. Sorry, Mark. It is saying a lot about this person, how she forces topics on sexuality onto these children's shows are the ones who sexualize these shows in the first place. I guess so, yeah. I guess that's one way of looking at it. Why else would you be talking about these things? It's like, oh, this person has potential homoerotic feelings towards this other person. You're like, maybe. Is that part of their character? Is that relevant to the plot? No.
No, if you come to me and say like, "Oh, SpongeBob and Patrick are homosexual for each other," I'm like, "The fuck you get away from me! Keep far away from me! What the hell are you doing?" That's not like you're looking way too deep into this.
Yeah, no, that's the lens that people use.
This is the same mindset that produces these shipper subcultures. Because they want to see their fantasy happen, so they look for hints everywhere. I've seen this in this Ruby pseudo fandom. It's just which is essentially just crazed fetishistic girls that want to have lesbian relationships everywhere, and they see things everywhere. They are like schizophrenic, paranoid, delusional people.
Outside of Raylo, it's always lesbians and gays. It always seems to be the ship that goes. It's always lesbian and gay. Yeah, it's never like a guy and a woman. Outside of like Raylo, I've noticed as well. Very, very weird. Very weird. That's a story for another day.
Here is Jake the Surgeon again. Parents are gods to children. Then I was a non-believer since I was 5. That reminds me of a quote. What was that movie with Brandon Lee? The Crow. Mm-hmm. He says something very similar to that. I know he's referencing another poet, but he's holding The Crow is a weird film. He's holding the mother.
Yes.
She just shot herself up with heroin or something, and she's holding her wrist, and the heroin's seeping out of her wrist or something, and she's saying how important you are as a mother. I can't remember the exact quote. It's something like "Mother is the name of God for children" or something like that.
Yeah. So if you lose that belief that early, that is sad in one way, but also shows that you probably matured a bit early, I would say, because that is like realizing too early that Santa Claus isn't real.
Wait, what?
It's the.
We're trying to say I don't believe you for a second. Santa Claus is real.
That's what you meant.
Wandering tree.
Yeah, I just mean if this the mysticism of childhood is partially to protect your innocence, that you can be an innocent child, and when you learn too early that your parents are not what you thought they were.
Let kids be happy.
Yeah.
That's all I say. The world's a terrible place. Let kids be happy for as long as possible.
Well,
they don't need all this shit.
Yeah, I'm just
let them have a childhood.
I just be careful with the as long as possible, because if you take that literally, you get Oedipal parents that keep their children forever.
But when
I know you don't mean that.
Yeah, I mean, a child as long as possible. At least let them have a child until they're 10 years old, and then you can start telling them, listen, look, these are the things you're going to have to.
Yeah, then we can start talking about
when they move to bigger school.
When the hormones start
single
kicking,
digits,
then
run around and do what you want, play, have fun, enjoy yourselves.
Yeah, and when puberty starts, that's the time to talk about. Okay, there's something going on with you. You will hate me for the next couple of years. That's normal. You'll be insane. You'll hate me. I will hate you. Mm-hmm. We'll see each other in 6 years again when you're sane, and you will want to.
4-year-olds should not be taught how the British Empire was the worst slavery producing thing in the history of no, just let kids run around in the mud and the sunshine and the snow and just have fun and watch their cartoons about sponges and Patrick Star and shit.
Yeah, and in first grade in history in an East German school, public school, you don't need to learn about the pillars of Islam, either.
No.
And that's a true story of mine.
Here is Tyler Preston. Thank you. To all the people who accuses people like the Quartering of being obsessed like with a cartoon show for kids, seems to be guilty as sin of doing it themselves by being obsessed with what fictional is bonking in the sack. Take, for example, the Shiris. Well, it's kind of the same people who are attacking those who are attacking others. The anti-SJWs and the people who don't like those people, and they talk about them like we have covered before. It's this ongoing weird, not even a cycle. It's just someone says something, someone reacts to that, and then someone reacts to that.
Yeah.
And it's there's no learning, there's no communication. It's just one way. So that is the problem. I'm even noticing with this with us, because we try to reach out to these people, but in this case, there'd be no point. Like, we wouldn't talk to this person. There's no, like, what would we learn?
I'd learn how to tie a noose a lot faster and hang yourself the way you do it. But
well, we could learn something, but we'd bang our head against the wall for about half an hour before we gave up. We'd be like, okay, well, you do what you do, and we'll respect whatever you're talking about. But it's just hard to grasp when we're trying to explain things clearly. And kids' shows should be for kids. It's very simple. You shouldn't have to talk about these random issues just because you want to represent the world in an episode of SpongeBob. It doesn't make sense. So, anyway, Kyle Rocket. Parents nowadays protect their kids from the real world rather than prepare them for it, which is why soy boys exist. Huh. That's
true.
That's a bit of a stretch.
You have to protect your child in some way, but if you overdo it, then
Oh, this is what I've been talking about. This is when you extend this protection period for too long, which is what Oedipal parents do, which is what traditionally, in as long as it's healthy, is the job of the mother: protect the child in the let's say larval stage, and but after that, the kid has to be pushed out. That is traditionally is the wrong word. Naturally. That is the job the father takes. He said the father is the one who says, go a few more steps, go a bit further out, keep on trying, try this new thing, here's another thing. And the Oedipal parent, which is usually the mother, can be the father, usually the mother, will say, I don't want you to feel like a failure for having failed at trying this, so don't try from the start. And the father instead says, try. A bad father would do the other thing. Would the Oedipal thing a father could do? Sometimes mothers do this as well. Is you can't do this right. I'm getting upset and unnerved by you not getting it right. So I'll just do it for you. I'll solve the children's puzzle for you. I'll hammer in the nail that I wanted you to hammer in because you're not getting it done. This discourages the child and makes the child feel like a failure, and also can lead to the child not trying new things in the first place. That is bad behavior. The father's job is to encourage, and a good mother encourages too. But these are different parts of life. I'm failing at words right now. Thing is, when you have so much single motherhood, you have this happen a lot, that you get just this Oedipal part of the mother. Especially when if there is no one else for the mother to rely on as a relationship, the mother can easily fixate on the child as the only relationship. Since children want to move out of the family at some point, which is what puberty is in part 4, that's what the rebel phase is for. It's for the child to start cutting ties with the parents to go out into the world and live on their own. That's what that is for. That is why kids hate their parents at that time. It's supposed to be the nest leaving time. It's just that with how developed we are right today, that time seems a bit early in life nowadays. When we only got to 25, 30 years of age, that was a perfect time to do that. Thing is, thing is, and this is the same is true when for lesbian relationships, where there's no proper no one with the proper masculine father role to take that. Some lesbian relationships have that, where one is that real masculine role type, but I have seen quite a few that don't have that, where both are some sort of female, of motherly type. When they then have children, well, then they have two Oedipal mothers. That's shit. Thing is, what we've seen. So we see this now. We have this influx of single motherhood. So you have no male influence, no father influence, and we had the same thing after World War II, because all the men had died. This is one reason. I'm talking a bit out of my ass now, because of course people had children after the war. But there's also other reasons why you get overprotective of your children after a war, obviously, because you don't want them to suffer. Because you went through absolute hardship, so you don't want your children to go through the same, so you give them luxury as much as you can. The other problem is, you become a single mother, still have children, because your husband died in the war. And that is how we got this baby boomer generation that is so narcissistic. They had an increased level of narcissistic personality disorder, just like the current generation has, which is in both cases, in part, there are other factors too, but in large part, a product of single motherhood. That is what weakens the society, sadly.
Here is...
I try to be finished.
Here is Jake the Surgeon. My puberty was mild compared to others. I never rebelled. Oh, that's a nice, sobering point. Thank you, Jake. Good to know.
Yeah, not all children do that. Some manage to be well with their parents. It's always a degree. It's always a personality thing. And how much do the hormones wreck you? For fuck's sake. Puberty is basically temporary insanity. Which is no fucking wonder. I mean, your brain is growing entirely new faculties up there that weren't there before. You ever try to switch graphics cards while your computer is running?
Please don't. I think Shiny did that to us. He was updating a driver and he stopped his entire... I don't know if you remember what happened. He sounded like this crazy machine noise. It was like, I don't know. It was so funny. Like, we thought he was a clanker at that point because he was updating his driver. That was so funny. It's like, Shiny, maybe you should update your software when, you're
Message
not live.
coming in. Patching through.
That was funny. Anyway, Cal Rocket. Parents nowadays... okay, I already started that. Sorry. Jake the Surgeon. Wisp. Polygamy is the answer. What? Several parents bickering and realizing they made a mistake after making... several babies is very healthy? What?
No, I know that's sarcasm. Okay, I know. But holy shit. Yeah, that is an answer they try to convey. But it fucks up children. Because children, even before they develop sexual drives and all of that nonsense, they copy their parents' behaviors because they observe their parents all the time. So when the parents have a dysfunctional marriage, the kids may have problems forming relationships of their own because their own will be somewhat of a reflection of their parents' relationship. So when the parents are slutty, that's going to be shit. When their parents are abusive, that can be shit. Some children get through that healthy, some go one way or another. And if you have this polygamy bullshit, that is the part where socialization is a factor, because that is you show your kids this is how the world works, so your kid will want to do that. So, like you have an Islamic family with where the father has 4 wives and everything is like that, and you will probably think that women aren't worth that much, because If one of the wives, if he loses interest in one of the wives, then he replaces her simply. So that's where women are actually objects. I don't understand why the left is that is so strong on feminism and all of that is protecting that kind of culture.
I find
because the women actually want to be treated as objects. It's all projection. Anyway,
I find it fascinating when we talk about harem anime. It's all a fantasy in a medieval world where there is a high degree of respect for all the characters that are on the hero's party, and it's just a fantasy. There's a reason why these characters are the way they are and living the way they're living. It's very different dynamic than we're talking about contemporary settings of people trying to live a life, having a family, etc. So, a little complicated. We're not going to get into that, but that's fine. Okay. Mike Testa, thank you. Why does she look like she is in a straitjacket on the thumbnail with SpongeBob fonts in the background? Also, is this another mug-themed person? A mug-themed person? What do you mean?
I don't know what that means.
A mug-themed... Like, they always have a mug, and they're like, talking and animating themselves with a mug? Is that what you mean? I don't know.
Massively ugly girl.
Oh, what?
I'm trying to think of what mug might mean. MUG.
We've only watched 2.5 minutes, so we should probably watch some more to figure that out, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Jake the Surgeon. Having more than one wife sounds terrible. One nagging demon spitting out babies is enough.
Yeah.
In general, that's why I don't. Why this makes this polyamory stuff makes absolutely no sense. Because healthy people know that keeping one relationship healthy is hard enough. Because even with the best person, you will have trouble once in a while. All these polyamory things, they're just to have a virtuous excuse to go to exploit one person after another. Once the moment one person becomes troublesome because there's an actual problem and the person needs help, or has trouble with a new one in the whole thing, that person is discarded because the people usually initiating these polyamory things.
Also, I'd just like to say one thing about those sort of relationships. Vampires. It's never one guy with, say, 4 attractive wives. It's always one hideous land whale with 4 incredibly weeby blokes. So
yeah. It's not always a land whale, but it goes in that direction.
Get that idea of like a harem of incredibly attractive women out of your heads. It doesn't go like that. If you go as one who wants a relationship like that, it's usually a woman wanting numerous men.
Yeah, and it's always it's almost always the woman exploiting the men. And it's always beta orbiters. And it's I know several of these constellations, and they have been initially these had been sold to people as, oh yeah, everything is totally democratic, everyone's equal, everyone has an equal say. If someone doesn't want someone new to come in, then that's fine. And what the reality is that these are all star-shaped, focused on the land whale, and or otherwise psychopath, and it's usually a psychopath really. And and if one person then does have a problem, and I've heard this from many people who got out of these things, and it's usually passive, very empathetic, very kind, but a bit spineless due to lack of life experience, naive nerds that fall for these things because they're a bit underfucked. They usually get into their mid-20s, already make money, but never found the courage or time or both to find a girl, and so they get sucked into this crap as an alternative, because these let's say land whale types, they're not all land whales, but they all go into this general direction of not being the most attractive of people, let's say. They go out actively hunting for these types of, let's say, nerds. And it's really sad. And of all the people that have told me about this, that got out of these things, they all had, it's like a meme. They all said, the line they were told was, your feelings, your problems. Does that sound like love?
No.
Amour? Polyamour? And the person who got you into this tells you your feelings, your problems. These are words only uttered by someone without any empathy, by a narcissist or a psychopath.
Mm-hmm.
Because those people never cared about your feelings in the first place. They only wanted to exploit you.
All right, let's keep going here.
Yeah. So
itself. You would have the staff joke around about how two male characters would end up together, but they would never write an episode showing that happening. Gay relationships would be censored out of the main storyline, or they would be severely sidelined. That is the age of television.
This is not really true about the Sailor Moon thing. Was this not Mercury? Neptune and Uranus?
Yeah. It was.
There were side characters to begin with.
Yeah, no, they rewrote them so that they were relatives as opposed to lovers in the North American translation in the 90s.
Oh, probably.
So they.
I don't know what they did in the I don't remember what they did in the German thing, but it was obvious from the visuals that they were romantically involved with each other.
Oh yeah. And Uranus was very masculine, like she was tall and strong and whatever. So
outside her sailor outfit uniform, she was the male type lesbian, male personality lesbian. That's okay.
See, Japan was a bit more evolved in the 90s than the rest of the world, so
Japan is still more evolved than the rest of the world.
In many ways, yeah.
2021.
Yeah, but social justice really hates Japan because they have real trouble getting their foot in the door there.
It's funny because Japan's like, you're dumb, go away. It's like, we don't need you. You're a child.
Every time the SJWs come up to like Japan just like taps to a sign that just says no retards. It's like, they all have to like walk away.
Yeah, we already have our retards and we are financially exploiting them.
Yeah,
you go away because you don't pay for anything.
About having I wouldn't say literacy, but just an amount of content from Japan that is so diverse already. There's something for everyone. So that when you see this crap come by, you're like, what is that? No one likes that. No one wants that. That's useless to us. We can't sell that. We want attractive looking things, not disgusting looking things.
Yeah. We already have enough badly written anime. We don't need bullshit, absolute bullshit written anime.
Bullshit.
There's plenty of bad anime out there, guys.
Yeah, and even the bad ones still do the relationship stuff more humanly realistic than anything SJWs put out, because they do not understand how human relationships work. And I'm fucking autistic, and I figured this out. That's the difference. So autism is it's not wrong to call autism a form of retardation, because retardation just means inhibited in development, and we develop different faculties at a different time than normal people. That's why it doesn't quite fit. Autists of the same type in a group, they work perfectly with each other. There's no trouble in communication or anything. It's wonderful. It's it's magical. You wouldn't believe it until you see it. And that's when then a normie gets in. The normie feels like the autist usually feels in the rest of the world. it's kind of fascinating. Thing I want to say with that is, these retarded people, they're retarded in another faculty, the emotional maturity. They do not learn how, because of the lack of empathy, how relationships work. So how would they be able to write human interaction and human relationships? How are they supposed to write it? They are incapable. They are essentially disabled, if you will. And I'm disabled in where I have my inhibitions or whatever that Benny I managed to overcome. Some I'm still working on. These people aren't working on themselves.
Message coming in.
And that's the main difference.
Patch
they are not they don't. The thing with narcissists is that they do not think they have a problem. They think the world is the problem.
Yeah.
So they have to change the world. The world has to counter to their beliefs and wishes of how the world should be, instead of them looking at, okay, these are unchangeable things about the world. maybe I should admit that and try to work around that and adapt a little to the things that I have absolutely no control about changing, and that humans can't change about themselves at large. So if I want a fulfilled life, maybe I should just do what fulfills me instead of crap. Vapid crap.
Here is Ronarushin. Japanese businessmen care about making profit, not activism. I think any publishing house or animation house is going to focus on, can we sell this first? Is it going to sell? Can we make something people want?
Crunchyroll! Crunchyroll!
Yeah. So, yeah, they think in terms of who's going to buy this. And then we make it, we produce it, and voila, it gets 12, 24 episodes, whatever the run is. And they see how it goes.
Did Crunchyroll think about that?
It's a business. Yeah.
I don't think so, because everything they tried is a complete failure from the start, and anyone could have told them that from the start. It's the same thing with Disney and the High Republic. No one wants that. Marvel and their constant reboots of anything. Nobody wants that. And the numbers are showing them for years and years on end. Nobody wants STD.
Well, they can get licenses.
And they make more.
They try to get their licenses for whatever at Crunchyroll. And whatever it might be, if it's popular in Japan, we could sell that elsewhere, depending on the translation, depending on whether they localize it or not. So they just have subs. So it depends on whether they're going to spend money. Hey, let's buy this license and bring it over.
With these failing Western media companies, I wonder if that is not, at this point, if it's about the money, then the only explanation I see that would be feasible is, okay, this is failing, we don't know how to make it right, so let's launder some money into our own pockets while we can, while it's not completely dead. That would be the only explanation I could have. But the other is just more likely that people who came out of the industry have said that profit is not number one, the number one goal anymore in many of these companies. Hollywood at large, that is number two. Number one is pushing the ideology, and that is what makes them bleed all the time. Pandering to a niche doesn't make you money if you do not focus that on that from the start.
I guess a lot of you did too. It was only with the...
Oh my god.
18 to 24, all female.
Yeah, I did I not tell you that
I grew up
it all come into place?
72%.
So she's 18 to 24 year old, so she is pandering to immature girls that are not emotionally developed. Because girls do not mature emotionally as much as boys, because they are naturally pandered to. We all as humans, with of course the exceptions of the people who have weird things going on in their brain, like psychopathy or something. We all pander to girls, to females, to women. There is a natural effect in us that makes us perceive girls and women naturally in the same level of agency and thus responsibility for their actions as and way of we must protect these people as the elderly, disabled people, and little children.
Message coming in.
This is and there is a reason for this effect, because women are simply the bottleneck for reproduction, so they have to be protected more. This is a natural thing. Problem is, when this gets to an extreme, that leads to us not maturing them. When we still live in the wild, then the wild forces us to grow up. But in our developed world here, there are absolutely no threats that force us to grow up, really. So this complete Oedipalization process that we produce this way makes women not grow up past an emotional age of their teenage years. And the joke is that the feminist movement, instead of increasing agency of women, because then they would not need feminism anymore for one, Oedipalize women even more and say we need to protect them even more, give them even more stuff for free, pander and pamper them. And how are they supposed to grow up in any way? And then these kinds of girls, these kinds of perpetually until they lay on their deathbed, immature girls.
Most of the time, it's they reach about 42, 43, realise there's no blokes for them. The clock's gone. And they're no longer useful parts of society, and it's like, shit.
Then a little bit of that happens, but they're still emotionally immature. I've met plenty of 40-year-old, 50-year-old women that are still mentally 16, and
I think around my end, it's like the schoolyard mentality. It's still the schoolyard mentality of it.
Exactly that. And these kinds of girls and women. These kinds of, let's say they're all girls. The immature ones are all girls. So there are very few women out there. Most are just girls in old bodies. These are watching this channel and gobbling up this shit and upvoting this shit. This absolute vapid shit that has no basis in reality. But is only propaganda.
All right. Here's Joe Crazy. Japan is...
I'm a Heinlein fan.
Really? Who is? I am too.
Hooray!
Yeah, Highline's great. Anyway,
yeah.
Back to Joe Crazy. Japan is the master of throwing junk at the wall. Okay. You got the cheapest solution,
wrong.
which is like the light novel, which is just words. It's just people writing stories. If that works out, they might have a gamer side to things. So maybe a visual novel comes next. If they want to do more writing and more visuals, they go to the manga route or manhwa route, whether it's Chinese or Japanese. Then you have an anime if it gets really big, and then you can go into anime movies or live action or 3D CGI, whatever you're popular there, or you just keep making more of the same manga or anime, depending if it's.
They still throw a lot of anime junk at the wall without any basis. That is the case, but amazing. In general, that is how. So the statement from Joe Crazy is not wrong. However. That is how a meritocratic and capitalist society, healthy capitalist society, actually works. And not just capitalist, but that's why I said meritocratic.
Yeah.
That's what every art is. That's what every media is. That is what every craft is. 99% of everything is shit. 99% of all metal is garage bullshit of some friends hacking at their instruments. And that's fine. Have fun. But it's not the grand. It's not Dio. Okay, not every garage metal is Dio. That's not that doesn't happen. Most even many PhDs aren't amazing.
Yeah.
In STEM fields, they're great. It's great to get to that level in a STEM field when you have good standards. That is, but even of those, most are not creative people.
Yeah, all that means if you're a PhD, you could sit through one exam, you could do one thesis, and then you could have a second research paper. Notwithstanding all the courses you have to take to get there, that's obviously a lot of discipline, but it doesn't prove you're amazing in that field. I've had people. Who don't know how to do gene sequencing, and they have PhDs. And I knew people who weren't even out of fourth year genetics. They can work at a job sequencing whatever genome for some research firm that does these things for you have to do it manually. You have to figure out the genome of an organism. So there's skills that you can learn that are in the same field, but you don't need a PhD for. Because the PhD is there. The university system is there to make you an engineer. And if you're not going to be an engineer, you're going to be a researcher, or you're going to be doing something specific for the arts, like history, or art appreciation, or any kind of like English areas or the philosophical areas. So you have those two spectrums of things I can learn, and in terms of ideas and how to express those ideas. So you have philosophy and English. So you have this gamut of ideas, whether it's not science, if you're not being an engineer, if you're not making something, You have to do something academically. So that is why you should go into this post-secondary education. If you want to become someone with your hands, you want to make something, you go to college. You actually learn a particular trade or skill, whether it's programming or tool and die or mechanics or technicians things. That's where you should spend your money for a 2-year program or a 3-year program where there's a job waiting for you as soon as you get out, because that's why you go to college, for a job specifically. Whereas university is academics and hopefully engineering. Hopefully. You don't have to be, but hopefully that's why you spend a lot of time and money to get a PhD, get a doctorate.
Yeah. And some things, this is what I've noticed. Many people or most people are, and this sounds, I don't mean this as condescending as it sounds. Most people are conveyor belt workers, if you will. Do the same every day. And you can do this in intellectual jobs. That is also, or bureaucratic job. That is also conveyor belt work. It's the same thing every day. That's essentially something that you learn in university if you just get your degree for that. Here's this certificate is a high-level proof that I can do this thing. But that doesn't mean that this person is also someone who does bleeding-edge research. Because for that, you need a few other skills that are very rare, like creativity. Creativity is a very rare thing. You can have a very high IQ and absolutely no creativity. And that's when you are still fit for a conveyor belt job.
Yeah.
And I mean this metaphorically. That doesn't mean you are less of a person, because these people are also needed. Most of the people are needed that way, because
we see it.
If we just talk about research, you have your main guy, and you need a lot of helpers to get this shit done.
Yeah,
but these workers need to be very, very competent people.
We talk about, at least I talk about it, because my field is software development. There's 3 levels, and they're not higher or lower than the other. They're just styles of thinking and how you approach problems. There's the developer who sees things as, I got to solve a problem as efficiently as possible. I need the solution, or I have to make my own solution. So you have a different approach to everything. You have the programmer who's very skilled in one thing, and he will see most problems as a nail, but he's very good at hammering, but he can't screw. He just does the one thing, right? Then you have...
I noticed from people who are very good at cryptography, and are absolute magicians in that, but they can't do anything else.
Yeah, exactly. They're focused on one style or one technique or whatever their research is in that field of, for example, coding. And then there's the computer scientist who sees everything as a puzzle, as a theoretical concept. It's like, what is this thing you're trying to put an image on the screen? Well, there's thousands of ways we can do that, and the ones we have now can do it that way, and I can learn that, or I can do it a different way that would, take up less energy, or invent a new screen, or think of a concept for a screen to put an image up on the wall. So there's all these approaches to things, and one of them is more practical, and one of them is more theoretical, and one of them is just extremely focused in one solution. So these are the ways that I would think in terms of making something, especially software. But you can approach that also to recipes for dinner, for building a chair. There's all these different approaches to take. So anyway,
the thing that comes out at the end is that you have this distribution of quality spikes and a lot of, well, I don't want to demean people, but a lot of it's just trash, mostly for fun.
Just demean away. It's perfectly fine. I do all the time.
Bash education.
I only have no trouble in demeaning SJWs. But yeah, it's you have that everywhere. That you have the spike of these few very, very amazing things in anything, and then you have a lot of mediocre stuff, and then you have a big amount of real trash. And yeah, that's the same thing for fanfiction. There's really amazing fanfiction out there. It's just not a lot. Most is crap.
All right, let's get going. Strawman, thank you. Crunchyroll is the bestest thing ever. Have you seen X-Arm? It's made by Crunchyroll. Best comedy ever made. Oh, please do not watch it.
I can't argue, because I'd be arguing the Strawman.
Yeah, don't. I haven't watched X-Arm. From what I've seen of trailers, I am not interested. That's fine. So,
I doubt that is even. I could check some torrents and see if that is even downloaded much. I would doubt it.
According to my chat statistics, I guess a lot of you did too. It was only with the arrival of the 2010s that we started to see these kinds of relationships be depicted in a more relevant, canonical manner.
Because that's when you started to take over everything. Everything. Gaming, cartoons, comics, politics, everything. You fetishists took over everything and pushed your bullshit and reality distorting crap everywhere. I wouldn't call these relevant. There's just some cartoons that depicted these better. What my trouble is with these cartoons is that they seem on the surface like they are for young children. 6-year-olds, 12-year-olds. But they aren't.
No,
they aren't. They're made for perpetual children in their 20s. Yeah. And that is the disconnect and the dysfunctional thing. And this is where
look at everyone who talks about these shows and everything. Apart from the very rare occasion when you might accidentally come across like a 16-year-old or even a 50-year-old talk about it, you never get any younger with these cartoons. It's always mid-20s, late 20s, perpetually angry, miserable SJW types of people who sing their praises. And it's like exactly the same, cookie cutter type people. They're exactly the same. It's like, oh, okay, I know exactly what this program is.
The audience is not for children. This is people in that age making it for themselves. They're not aiming it at making it for children, like when Warner Brothers made Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes was made for children, with children in mind. This is not made for children in mind. Sometimes, like in Adventure Time, you have some good episodes that are perfect for children, and even touch on a philosophical thing here and there. And then you have episodes that are just weird. I have these weird metaphors in them, and I don't remember when I stopped watching that, honestly. I think it was after the Comet or something.
I never started watching it. I had adult things to do. No offense. I was trying to get a house and
I mean, I know why I sometimes like to watch these things. It's just I ran out of sci-fi. What do I watch next? I need someone in my kick back and watch something slot. And some of these seem to be promising shows. The way the world in Adventure Time developed was very interesting, because it starts as this candy magical fantasy world, and as the story progresses, you slowly by drip feeding get hints. It's never spoken out aloud, but you get more and more hints that this is a post-apocalyptic world after humanity has died out, and this magic fantasy land is just one little blob in this apocalyptic wasteland that is created by Princess Bubblegum, who is a sentient slime, who just managed to take form, and is secretly a fascist leader who plays civilization with the candy people she invented, which is psychologically quite fucked up. But that's an interesting story. If that fits into a children's cartoon, I don't know. But it's an interesting story. Then some other parts, they go a bit bonkers. But there are some emotionally really great stories, like the backstory of the Ice King. But then you get these really weird episodes where that seem to be about a metaphor about rape and polygamy, and it's really what are you doing?
Yeah.
Cartoon, what the fuck are you doing? And it's this really weird mix of, there is an interesting world building, there is an interesting character development with some of these, there is interesting philosophy in this thing, And then there's absolute, what the fuck? Why? That breaks everything. That breaks it. And Adventure Time is one of the better shows of this. And I got to Adventure Time through Bravest Warriors, which is the same style, also by Pendleton Ward. And that's just, has very few episodes. And they're all just 6 to 7 minutes long. And that's that, because it's very well packed, very well written. At least in the beginning when I watched, I don't know how much of that is out there now. I think I just saw the first 2 seasons eventually. And these people can write really great stuff without all this pandering bullshit. They can do that. But then you just have these moments where this ideological demon is just completely taken over, and it's like the show has an aneurysm.
Yeah.
And even then, it would take years until the characters would be able to show their true colors. Their bright, super rainbow colors. That's why I feel so happy whenever I see LGBTQ characters being portrayed in a positive and
Why?
Okay, so you have a fetish for the sexually deviant. Okay, that's your thing.
Yeah.
So, Princess Bubblegum is not a girl. She's a slime. She's SpongeBob. The people standing behind you are canonically asexual. The gems allegedly do not have sexes. They often look girlish, but they are allegedly sexless. These 2 characters are in love with each other, so much so that they are in constant fusion. That is this is Sapphire and Ruby, and together they form Garnet. And
Message coming in. Patching it through.
So they only thought I watched this in the beginning for a while because I thought this is an interesting world building, but it went nowhere because these people just don't know what to do and how to world build because they don't actually care about that. They focus just on their shipping bullshit and their relationship bullshit. So these Garnet fell apart, and that's when we learned that, this is 2 characters actually that are just fused constantly because they love each other so much. This fusion stuff is an obvious allegory for sex. And because that's what you see when they do their fusion dances. Unlike Dragon Ball Z, which is a funny fusion dance, these fusion dances are sexual. You can see that in the animations in the show. There are lots of clips on YouTube. And this is also bullshit. This is also so here's I haven't watched Steven Universe that far, but this scene here is just so obviously SJW stuff because as Ruby is you could say tomboy of the couple. You can also already see that very strong arms, determined face. And is wearing the dress, while Sapphire, the demure, thoughtful girl, is wearing the tuxedo. This is just SJW crap. So technically, both are female or depicted like that, while they are sexless, while they have to use their language coded in the respective male and female genders, but wearing switch clothes. This is the absolute social justice sex fetish. Everything is weird and flipped. Everything is weird and flipped. That's all this is about. All of it. And this character, look at how her avatar looks. Her comic character here. This looks like an unhinged cat lady who's about to throw a cat at you if you interrupt her while she has a weird thought-gasm.
I feel like she drinks wine on a Thursday night.
And every other too.
Sex in the City. Yeah.
And probably every other night. Why does she draw herself like that? The character looks completely unhinged. Why'd you choose that color for their hair? Maybe it's my... Let's put it on the other monitor because they have different color heats.
2 monitors.
No, it looks like piss. Your hair color is piss. Wonderful. You can't even depict yourself in a pleasing way.
I've got 2 monitors compared to Hawk. I'm watching this on my phone.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just about this frame here. There's so much to say about this single frame and how this. Why do you draw your character like this? This looks like you are an unhinged, creepy, abusive, addicted fuckhead. Why do you draw yourself like that? Why does 500,000 people watch this shit?
This is like a first step to learning how to draw manga and anime. It's like, okay, you got the eyeballs wrong.
Cartoons.
You got the nose. You got all these things wrong. That's your first draft.
This is the cartoon style. It's not manga.
Oh, yeah.
But go on.
It's like if I were to teach something, I have books on how to draw manga, how to draw attractive women in manga. There's all these books you could buy to teach yourself how to do this. And
this is CalArts inspired. This is not manga inspired.
I don't know what this is, but it's like you never read a book, you never even looked at a manga. Say, hey, how do Urashita? How does he draw machines or women? I have no idea, but I think I saw it like 10 years ago. I'm going to start now, and they just did their first draft, and then they ran with it, and they started coloring it, and they threw in some. What the hell is with this pink shade? I don't know. There's like 2 levels of light. The
colors are just horrible. She doesn't know how to draw legs. At least she drew the neck right. The common mistake when you learn to draw with neck is that you do it at an angle. She at least went straight down. That's the one positive thing I can say about this.
I have never heard someone say, she's got the neck right. That's cool.
Anyway, let's try to keep going. We'll be here forever. Joe Crazy, there's a show called OKKO that tried to promote gun control in one of their episodes. They used skeleton remotes as a stand-in. What the hell is a skeleton remote for gun control? I've never heard that term before. Is that American thing?
Skeleton remote.
Sorry, I interrupt. I just looked up the on the standard torrent site for anime that I frequent. They have X-Arm on their site.
Oh no!
And the Cedar and Leecher numbers are low 2 digits. There are almost no Leeches. There are only low 2-digit Cedars. Nobody's watching this. Even the newest episode, 120 to 64.
Message coming in.
Nobody is watching this.
Through.
Wow.
Here is Rock Suzuki. Thank you, sir. Hot take. I'm fine with kids' cartoons having gay relationships and more adult topics, even in Shonen Jump anime. You constantly see blood and other adult stuff, and Shonen is aimed at young boys. Okay, there's a difference between having action and adventure and violence and blood and guts and this and that, because a lot of that stuff is made for young adults anyway. It's the inclusion of, it's the need to have it. And usually we talk about, with Sailor Moon, it's like, there is a homosexual relationship there. There is a whole bunch of a variety of lesbian relationship in Sailor Moon as well, not just with those two. So it happens all throughout anime. It's been doing that for decades. So it's not a big deal.
Sailor Galaxy? No, not Galaxy. The trio later on?
I think it was R. I can't remember the villains. They had some sort of thing going, and
they were a parallel team something.
Oh, really?
I think they were posing as pop stars in their real life.
Oh, yeah.
On their fake real life.
Jeez, there was 3 of them. What were they called? The Galaxies, or I don't know.
No. Galaxy was the final villain.
Okay.
The
Starlights
too.
Was the Starlight? I can't remember. I'm mixing up Gem and the holograms. I can't recall.
Sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah, no. The concept of having these elements are fine. It's just that when you see these horrible or whatever Western animations, it's just like, what is this? This non-feminine.
When Japan does these topics, violence, relationships,
they do
anything,
it well.
They do it in a more mature way.
They do it
in a more realistic, grown-up,
they do it attractively.
natural way.
they do it in a very unique plot way. So it's not just, oh, I'm gay, but no. It's like, look, do they look like anthropomorphic blobs? I no, they look like actual well, not humans, but anime characters with long legs and feminine or male features. And there's so much content because they've had it for decades of bad and good anime that is geared towards homosexuals or lesbians or this or that. So they have standards, whether they're aware of it consciously or not. It's there. Mm-hmm. It's been on the shelves. It's been on the net. I can go find some great smut of manga for males or females. It's out there. I can compare. This is the standard. Okay, I got to do better than this. And then you sell it.
There's one great example about violence and hurt from a children's anime. I remember when it was here on TV, and internet wasn't that big yet. And there was Doremi. That's a magical girl anime for little children, aimed at young children. And the idea there is you have the three main characters, so color coded, red, blue, green. I think it was, as they are very often, and there was this one moment where one of the girls, she really cares about the boy playing soccer, and he had and he injured his leg, so he wouldn't be able to play at the important match the coming day or the coming weekend. And she just got the girl, the caring girl in the group. So type Sailor Mercury, like the book, the wallflower type girl. So the girls, of course, can't tell the others that, hey, we know magic. They don't do that. SJWs would do that. But they don't do that. They hide it. Identities. And so she wants to help him. And she just got these magical powers. And she's now learning how healing spells work. And healing spells have rules. They had. This is the great thing. They had rules in their little universe there, in their little girl anime. And the rule for healing spells is that you can't just heal it away, like Rey Palpatine does. You can't just heal it away. You can only transfer the wound onto yourself. So you have to take the injured leg to you, so that he is healed. And she can't tell him, because she can't tell she can't tell people that it's magic. And she's also, of course, not she didn't tell him yet that she likes him as well. She just wants to help him, really. So she sacrifices that. She takes on the pain of him in secret. And that episode ended with her limping home into so the sun is going down and she's walking down the street and she's limping and she's in pain. This is a children's anime for 6 to 12-year-olds, for girls, and it teaches about sacrifice. It teaches about secrets you need to keep. It teaches about pain, real pain. That's something that these SJW cartoons never really do. They just move on to the next thing. SJW cartoons seem much closer to the slapstick way of addressing pain and injury that Looney Tunes does. With Looney Tunes is fine doing that.
They've never dealt with pain. That's the problem.
Yeah,
mean words
not real pain.
On the internet. Yeah, mean words on the internet is the most they've ever had to deal with.
Yeah, and I don't think they really ever dealt with physical pain, which is also why they like to get into fights so much, because they've never been in a fight. If you've been in a fight, if you've been at the bad end of being bullied, you don't want to get into fights. But these people, that's why they LARP in the streets and do their insurrection stuff, because they are now big mobs, and yeah, people who know what violence is and what injury is, they don't want to get in the way because there's no one organized against the mob. It's gotten to that point.
Here is,
but yeah, this is. I just really like this example of a children's anime that does all of these things right in just one little episode, and that's just part of the story. And none of these people here get this right. And instead, I'm looking now at a horribly drawn character that is probably a very good psychological representation of what this person looks on the inside.
Here is Joe Crazy. Apparently, Ruby wearing a dress was to be a stand against Russian CN. What is Russian CN?
Cartoon Network?
Russian cartoon? Really? Wow. This is due to how Ruby in the Russian dub is male, and they added a mustache? What? They gave a kid a mustache?
I remember that the episode with Bismuth was censored in the UK.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Hey, we can do some things right in the UK once in a while.
But since you talk about positive representation, and I think one of the previous videos was that as well, I probably repressed that memory already of that Smudcast. Is this Bismuth character is I watched it just to understand, and I forgot most about it. Bismuth, the metal looks, it has this rainbow color to it, and so that made this character into, this is some presentation of trans, and it's effectively everything about that character at the same time was an abusive villain. It was even one of these long-term locked up super criminals that the Gems had in their secret basement. And I don't remember the details anymore, but that was a horrible, horrible character. You here in the previous frame she used, you saw that character walk through. And that was supposed to be a representation for trans people. And I don't want to be represented by you assholes. You can't, because you can't. You are unable to represent anyone because you do not understand how people function. You cannot represent gay people, lesbian. You can maybe represent the flamboyant gays, maybe, because that's a super in-your-face stereotype. So maybe you can do that. But other than that, normal gays, normal lesbians, bisexuals, normal trans people, people with gender dysphoria, you can't, because you do not even agree with, to use some terminology of yours, our lived experiences. Because part of that lived experience, which is just life, is that you SJWs are lying about us, abusing us, thereby, and with abusing I mean they use us for their narrative.
Yep.
They do not care about what is really going on, because what is really going on with this condition is against everything they want the world to be. We are not a justification for any of their talking points, any of their claims made about trans, about sexuality, about gender. We are the opposite. If you look into this condition, for real, if you look into the actual science of it, you will find that everything about this condition makes any social justice claim about it fall apart. And thereby everything socialists want. They want this homogeneous society where everyone is the same grey blob. That's not how humans work. And they used us to justify that, oh, you can be any gender, because we say so. So you can be anything. So in the end, they will eventually say, yeah, to be completely equal, everyone must abandon all individuality, because individuality is white supremacy and capitalism, and therefore we need to be collective grey blobs. And then everyone will be in a jumpsuit again, just like in Maoist China.
Just drag them down.
Oh, here's Mike Testa.
Just watch Democracy Now! The host of that is always sitting in one of his communist jumpsuits. And I thought this was a pro-democracy channel, and later on I realized that's a lot of socialist talking points these people have.
Don't watch Democracy Now!, guys. Please don't. Oh, God. Even the Twitter feeds are horrible. I just can't take them.
Message coming in.
Mike Testa, that KO episode came out during Parkland. Oh, jeez, come on. Not the best thing to have gun control in Parkland shootings. Oh boy. Rox is Uzi. Yes, I agree with what you're saying. It's all about how it's handled. Western animation handles these subjects very poorly. I was just saying in general, I think it's fine. Again, It's the execution. Yeah, I mean, this is nothing to look at that's attractive to my eye. I don't get anything out of this. If it's for kids, let it be for kids. Let it be fun and silly and I don't know, play. What do they play? Getting married? No, they're actually getting married in this scenario. So this is probably not.
They're not playing house.
No,
SpongeBob was playing house. These are actually getting married.
Yeah. So big difference there. Anyway, Strawman again.
Kids don't watch this. So
I doubt it. Yeah. Strawman.
I hope not.
Can you change your name from Smudboy to Smutboy? Why would I do that?
I think this is also a cartoon that, contrary to SpongeBob or Rocko's Modern Life, parents couldn't stand watching while it's on. My Little Pony, you can stand watching the
can you?
final thing. Well, it's written well enough.
I know,
it has moral. It goes into moral problems. It solves them well enough. It is not too preachy.
All I know is in 10 years' time, people will be talking about SpongeBob. They probably won't be talking about Steven Universe in the general public.
Yeah, because these people grew up with it.
No, the people will still be talking about SpongeBob because
SpongeBob will be cancelled because it's not progressive enough.
It's finished. It's finished anyway.
Yeah, but then there will be no reruns. Technically, SpongeBob is especially the early stuff, is so well made that you could keep running this forever. Because there will be children forever.
They still run it. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, people in 10 years' time, the only people talking about Steven Universe will be the people talking about it now. The rabid SCW fans.
Yeah,
that'll be it. In the general public, people won't talk about it.
Yeah,
that's all you'll ever notice.
This will be just as forgotten as this Thundercats CalArts monster is already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, always look at that like silver lining.
Andromeda.
Yeah.
I just want to share this with you guys. This was posted in the Discord, but due to heavy censorship and laws in Russia, some characters had to be edited in order for the show to air. I don't know if this is real or someone just.
I can believe it. We did similar things in Germany.
Yeah.
When in the 90s with some of these things, because the German censors, because the German censors did not think children would understand this. So they made things more they normalize. They put it more into what is expected to be normal.
Also, Russia is incredibly based and red.
Anyway, guys, I have to get going. I know this is kind of weird for me to cancel this show right now, but I have to get going. I got some other business to take care of. But if you guys want to finish off the video, we can definitely do it tomorrow. That's totally cool.
Yeah, I would be up for that.
Yeah, sure.
We covered the basics mostly, so that's out of the way.
All right, so we are at.
I just 3 minutes. Start my car.
Yeah, 3 minutes and 13 seconds. I'm going to record that. We can finish this off if we really want. I mean, Wisp is the guy who's talking about everything here. So
this is all horrible shit.
I'm just enjoying the fact that I'm getting through my beer quite quickly. It's quite enjoyable.
My beer is delicious.
Why does she? I still want to know, why does she draw herself like an ugly cat lady that is unhinged and looks like she's abusing drugs?
Or
draw what you know.
Or she's actually paying money for someone to do it for her, which would be really sad.
Yeah.
And if that then comes out, maybe that's passive aggressive. Please never bother me again.
I paid $80 for this piece of shit.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I got to get going, but we'll definitely have this conversation tomorrow if we can get everyone organized as before. And we'll talk to you soon, okay? Have a great night.
Bye.
All right.